What's the 411 kind of coincided with that transition. And you have to, be it right or wrong, whether or not you like him or not, you have to give Puffy credit for his vision for What's the 411 as far as bringing Mary J. Blige to the forefront. Much like you, I'd only heard Mary J. Blige on background vocals
on the Father MC joint.
On the Father MC joint. So, and I just remember. I remember the album cover, and it was just, you could barely see her face, and it was, she was kind of a mystery, and she just really kind of came out of nowhere.
True.
And you got to remember that Puffy really did a good job of infusing the hip hop as well as the R&B sound, or kind of cultivating a sound of its own, really. And I think it was really kind of like a sign of the times as far as so that's why I would never blame Mary J for the death of R&B. I think R&B was moving in a different direction. I think hip hop had started moving into a different direction. And what you have is just kind of like the synergies for both. And that's why they were able to come up with such a great album, first and foremost, because I think it's a great album.
Oh, it's an outstanding album.
But I think what happened after that was, what you have a lot of times with record labels. It's like, okay, she came out of nowhere, literally, and the success that they had, and then now it's like, okay, record labels are going telling their artists, okay, well, can you do what Mary J. Blige did? Can you do it? Can you create the Puffy sound? And then keep in mind, this was before Bad Boy really took off as a label. This was before Biggie. This was before Mace. This was before Puffy himself as an artist. So, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Puffy might have still been with Uptown. So,
well, all right. So you're right on all accounts. It was before all of that, because even Mary J was on the Dolly My Baby when he just hit the Bad Boy with Big, and Big and Craig Mack were on the Real Love remix, so it was kind of in that transition. But I feel what you're saying, but still, it wasn't What's the 411 and how Mary did it in post production. Wasn't that more or less an extension of New Jack Swing, though?
It was to a degree.
Because I remember them calling it like New Jill Swing because it was a female.
Right. It was to a degree. I mean, it wasn't, and it was for lack of better terms, it was Puffy's vision on taking something, because at that time, like you said, we're talking late 80s, early 90s, the New Jack Swing was really, really big. Teddy Riley and Guy, and he had artists, and he was producing artists, guys, people we never heard of, like Redhead Kingpin.
Right. Yeah, but he still had Kashif and Bobby Brown.
He still had his artists, but I mean, like it was a situation where at that particular time you could listen to somebody, you'd be like, oh, Teddy produced that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you heard My Prerogative. We knew that was a Teddy Riley song. You know what I'm saying? And Puffy, I'm not a big fan of Puffy, but I mean, you got to give Puffy credit. He kind of took that and he twisted the sound a little bit, and it just, like you said, it was New Jack Swing, and then it went to the New Jill thing, and
now it's the she's the queen of hip hop soul.
Hip hop soul, exactly.
So okay. So with that, I ask, as the R&B. Well, before I even ask you this question, the thing was when 411 dropped, like the year before that, you had traditional R&B. I said earlier in the show, the difference pre-411 and post-411 is you had genres. So you had R&B, you had pop, you had soul, you had funk, and it seems as though, of course, it's my opinion, which is always right. It seems as though after that, you lost all those genres. It's like after 411 dropped, like before 411 dropped, Aretha Franklin would throw out an album. She'd hit you with the Who's Whom and Who or some shit. And then after that, wasn't nobody trying to hear it. I mean, they weren't even making them like that, It's like the genres were gone, and it was just this mixture of singing and rap. It was either singing it was either a singer with a rapper on it, a rapper with a singer on it, or it was a singer with a hip hop beat under it. It was, and it wasn't even like it was a hip hop sounding beat. It was literally the instrumental from somebody else's, song that just made. It was like, okay, ain't no half stepping, so I'm just gonna sing over it. I mean, I give Puff credit. He really invented the remix. He did a whole 411 remix album. So, I mean, he gets props for that. My point was, after the 411, it just seemed like the genres, the music, just kind of went away or meshed together. There was no more funk bands or groups or songs, or it was all, this urban thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what, I will agree with you on that point, because and now I will stop short of saying that she single-handedly killed it, or this album single-handedly killed it.
Well, yeah, I gotta do that to boost ratings. I gotta get people.
Of course. I get that point. But I will agree, because what happens is, like you said, the music industry, like everything else, is copycat, and you go by what is successful and what's hitting. And at that particular time, like I said, when you go from New Jack Swing, and then Puffy comes with this album, and Mary has this, and Mary personified not only, and see, that was the thing that really also made it pop too, was, not only did she have this sound, but she personified it. I mean, you watch the videos, and she was this B girl, you know what I'm saying? She was in the oversized jersey. She had her little fitted caps on. She had the backup dancers. They had the weaves, and they were dancing, and it was real fly. I mean, it wasn't Pleasure Principle. You know what I'm saying?
Hey! Shout out to Demeter Joe. There'll be no Demeter Joe slander on this podcast.
I mean, it wasn't that. It wasn't Whitney. It wasn't that type of style. So it was something totally different. So not only did she have it with the sound, but there was also a look that came with it too. And like I said before, at that particular time, they were ushering in a different looking hip hop, because we were slowly transitioning from the African medallions to the hoodies and Timbs. So it was it all kind of meshed together. So I think that was, so I will agree with that point. It did kind of push that stuff away, because what happened was, like you said, funk, traditional R&B songs about love and love making or whatever like that. It kind of got pushed to the back burner, and What's the 411 was kind of like something that ushered in where it was kind of, to a degree, in your face, if you will.
Yeah, because if you think about it, after What's the 411 and Forever My Lady, those two albums, after that, everything since then up until now is made reflecting those. And my beef was really before that, when we had the New Jack Swing, and you still had your traditional R&B, you still had funk, and you would listen, like you said, like, oh, that's a New Jack Swing song. And the cool thing about that was, you would have an R&B artist do a New Jack Swing song, and it would just be like, okay, they're doing that genre. Or a rapper would do it, like, oh, they're doing that genre. Like Bobby Brown would make Rock With You, which is a regular R&B soul song. And then they'll do My Prerogative, be like, oh yeah, that's a New Jack Swing joint. But it was like, after that, it was just, you're just doing this new mesh hip hop soul thing. That's it. That's all you're doing. So I say earlier in the show, the traditional, because all right, here's the thing. Remember when she first came out, people was like, she can't sing. And now all of a sudden she's like one of our national treasures. But when she first came out, people were shitting on her like she sound like Rihanna after a throat chop. But
she struggled. I mean, you know what it was, and that was another thing too that people really didn't understand, was that Mary sounded at that particular time, and obviously we learn now, she was really battling some demons as far as alcohol and things of that nature.
When she made her best music.
Right.
I want to give her a fifth so she can make some good shit again.
And you know what's funny, man, because, and I've said this before, My Life is one of my favorite albums of all time, and she said that was the darkest period of her life. So that says a lot when you write an album that dope but you're going through your own personal hell. You know, for me, it was dope ass album. You know what I'm saying? But I think what happens is that, you know, that was also something that came to the forefront too, was that Puffy was able to bring all of that stuff out of her in the studio, but when it came time for her to sing live, you know, a lot of, like, you know, hold up, where's the octaves that you were hitting in the studio, you know, and that, you know, really started a trend as far as people not really, you know, really not being able to have to sing like the traditional singers that came prior, as opposed to, you know, just being in the studio and somebody hooking up your voice. And that's not to say that she could. I mean, I think now, you know, now that she's clean or whatever like that, I think Mary sounds a whole lot better than she did before.
Now, is it because she's clean, or is it because our ears are just used to Mary's sound now?
No,
you know, it's like, does she really sound better, or is it like, yeah, that's just how she sounds? That's Mary J. Blige.
You know, I think Mary has, as she's gotten older, she's making a concerted effort to work on her voice and work on how she sounds and how her stage shows and her presence is. I think that's what she wanted to do as a professional. I'm not sure exactly how old she was when she broke into the game, but you know, she was probably kind of just winging it, you know, and she was able to belt out sounds when she was, you know, making that album that maybe she really couldn't do.
Yeah, and by no means anyone listening are we saying Mary J. Blige is no good. Well, definitely Kyle's not. But yeah, so she's fine as far as that's concerned. But I bring that up because I was saying earlier that it got so bad with the way the genre changed that they had to invent, in the 90s, they had to invent neo soul, which was new soul, because the people that was like, yo, I can sing, and I don't want to have the beat to ante up at the under my ballot, you know. I want to just do some music, you know. Rochelle Farrell and you know, when Badu hit and D'Angelo, it's like, yo, we want to just sing. We don't want to dance around and have rappers all over our shit. They had to invent that, the new soul, because the old soul music, the genre was gone. So it was, you know, that's what happened in the 90s, and it's I say it's because of the copycat nature of the thing. It's just before, when something was trending, or it's how we do our hip hop talk. Right. When people back in the day, when people came out, it was like, okay, well, that's what they're doing, I'm gonna do my thing. But then after that, as soon as, you know, that 93, 94 hit, it was like, what's hot? That's hot. Okay, that's what I'm doing. And I'm doing the same thing. And we're going to use the same producers. We're going to use the same production. We're going to use the same writers. The subject matter is going to be the same. And everything's just going to sound the same. And it's just that copycat fighter switch that got flipped in the 90s just kind of ruined music in general. Because I know we talk about, well, hip-hop is dead. And the reason why I wanted to do this show is because a lot of people don't realize R&B is just as dead, if not deader, than hip-hop. You know? Right. So, you know,
it's definitely a lot. It's definitely not like it was, and I think that's, you know, being the age that we are, I think that's one of the beauties of excuse me, growing old and getting old with the culture, is that, you know, we were able to see that, and then we can, you know, people always say, well, you guys are old school and you think like this, but I think part of it is that we're able to see excuse me, what's real. So we don't have a problem with, we have a huge problem with what is being portrayed now as music, you know, because, you know, I don't know what's on the radio, because I would be wasting my time sitting there trying to listen to, you know, what's on the radio, who's on the radio, and how they relate to whatever music that they're trying to portray, because it's just noise to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same subject matter, and it's the sex, and some of the stuff I just don't understand. Like the week ago, a few weeks ago, the Grammys kind of just look like I don't understand what's going on. All this music is pretty much the same, you know, even to the point where you can't even tell the difference between a rap star and an R&B star. Like, I don't know what Nicki Minaj and Drake do for a living. I don't know if they're rappers or singers